Welcome to the Dare to Share Challenge. Today I am so excited because we have another amazing guest taking to the stage and daring to share her truth, her story, and her vulnerability. The Dare to Share Challenge was created for women like you, so that every time you feel doubt, you feel imposter syndrome, you feel fear around the size of your dreams and how you're ever going to be able to make them happen. And all of these people, these leaders that you look up to, seem to have it all together. But the reality behind the scenes isn't always what it seems. And the Dare to Share Challenge is exactly that. Pulling back the curtains, removing the smoke and the mirrors, and showing you really what it takes to get to where you want to get to. So with that being said, Nada, welcome to the Dare to Share Challenge.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire, for having me. I love this initiative. I feel it's so well needed because exactly like what you said, we always see like the polished version of, what products people have or how they show up in the world, but there's actually so much that happens behind the scenes for that polished version to be polished. And I
Exactly.
feel this is inspirational for people that, that are comparing themselves like, okay, why don't I have it all together? Like, I want to share, like, nobody has it all together, right? We're just doing the best we can with what
Exactly.
we've got.
Exactly that. It's like that overnight success. There were like 10 years of pain before that.
Yeah, 100%.
I love it. So Nada, please do introduce yourself to everyone. Tell us about the amazing gifts that you bring into the world before we dive into the juice.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm known most in my community for my spiritual guidance. I teach people and women how to master their feminine energy, but I also teach spiritual people how to kind of like let go of the matrix, control, and rise into their full power so they can embrace their ascension journey. I'm the founder of Divine Great Spirit, which is an online academy. And, I just love what I do. And I love that I get to like it's such an honor to be such a beautiful part of a person's journey to help them grow and elevate into their mastery.
I love that so much. Such a beautiful gift.
Thank
So
you.
needed. So needed. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we're going to dive right on into the challenge. So before we get to the big questions, I want to ask you which level of vulnerability that you're going to opt for today. So for you guys listening, Nada has two options. So we have the stretchy level because nothing is comfortable, right? Let's not get this wrong. There is nothing that is comfortable. Everything is putting ourselves out there for the whole world to see. So the first level is stretchy, which is your hero's journey, your story, everything that you have been through and that you have overcome to get to where you are now. The other level is extreme, and this is something that you're navigating in real time right now. And we're not always in that place, right? So that isn't necessarily always an option. But today, Nada, which option would you like to opt for?
Well, I'm going to go for the hero's journey only because I love extreme. I love this way it sounds because I'm all about bluntness and putting it out there. At the moment, I'm not navigating any challenges, so I will go for the hero's journey.
I love that. And it's so important that we share that part as well. It's so needed because this is everything that you have been through to get to where you are now. And this is often the part that we miss on social media, online. We see the end product and we miss all of those hurdles and those navigations that we've had to get to that place. So with that being said, question number one for you, Nada. What does being a real and a raw leader mean to you? And I don't just mean in business, okay? We're talking about the human. We're talking about the woman, the person behind the experience in your everyday life. That realness and that rawness, how does that come across in your world?
Yeah, I love that. Like for me, being a raw leader is exactly that word, is being raw, show up in the messiness, show up in the authenticity, show up doing the best you can with what you've got and not be ashamed if you want to take a day off and not do anything at all. Like really be true to yourself and what you're here to serve. I feel like, leadership has so many facets to it, but being very honest to what you can help people with and then never stopping from that mission, like no matter what is going on, because life will throw challenges, life will give you curveballs, is just part of the process. But being true to why you came here on earth and what is that divine purpose that you have, and no matter how you show up for it, in your pajamas, in your fancy dress, whether you're feeling great about yourself or you're processing something, still showing up, because I put this quote the other day on my Instagram, and because I feel like the highest service we can offer is actually service to ourselves, and that service is being aligned to our life purpose.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Being aligned to your life purpose. And how many of us get lost in what that even is? we take all these different paths and it's like, no, no, no. And always coming back on track.
And making it very authentic to you. Like when I first started my business, I got so overwhelmed. I'm like, all right, how do I get all the IT done? How do I get the technical done? How do I perfect the marketing, my messaging, the hook, the story, the statement, the story, the call to action, the emails, the promotions, the ads. Like there's so much that goes into it that it can create like robots for people. And it did with me at one point. Like I wanted everything to be right, so I just followed mainstream do's and don'ts. But then when I stepped back from all that, I'm like, all right, I have the foundation. I'm gonna just disregard it all and make it my own and go with my own flow and my own authenticity. That's when things start to really open up, because your character's there, your emotions are there, and just you, like your presence, your essence will emanate through that.
I love that. So what I'm getting from that is the real and the raw leader to you means really being true to who you are and coming out of a matrix, really, like coming out of all of the noise and distraction from what everyone else is doing and honing in on what it really is that you feel called to do. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I get the vision, like while you're speaking, I get the vision like of horse races, and in horses, when they're in horse races, they put the blinders on the right and left eye so they don't look left and right and just keep focusing. And I feel like that's what we got to do. Like, let's not compare ourselves. Let's not look left and right what other people are doing and focus on the path that we're creating instead.
Absolutely. Amen. Comparison is the thief of all joy. I think we all know that. So yeah, that is incredible. Okay, so Nada, let's dive in to the main question. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. So for you guys watching, I don't know what Nada is going to share with us. I never tell any of the speakers or give them any guidance around what they can, what they can't say. They have complete free reign over where they feel called to share, what they feel called to tell us today. And just trust that if you're watching this, it is something that you need to hear. This is for you. So with that being said, Nada, what are you willing to dare to share with us all today?
Like what's your objective with this question? Like what am I willing to dare to share in the sense of?
In the sense of, this is the show, right? So what are you willing to dare to share with us today out of your journey? Maybe something that you don't normally talk about, something that has been more of a struggle than other pieces, something that not many people know about you, that you had to experience to get to where you are today. Anything is on the table. Nothing is off limits.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. When I first started teaching the path of the feminine, it was around 16 years ago, and nobody was teaching or talking about the path of the feminine. And when I would go to like healing centers or meditation centers with my workshop, like I want to host this workshop, people would diss it. People would diss like the feminine, let's put it on the side. It wasn't as valuable. But I decided to get my own space, and I didn't listen to the chatter of everyone. Was like, no one's gonna come to that. What do you mean about the feminine? And I decided to, I'm gonna rent my own space. I'm gonna host my own workshop. And I didn't think back then that this is what I would actually be known for today. Now, what I realized as I was, because, as we evolve, our work evolves with us, right? So what I realized is that there is so much misogyny on the planet. And misogyny is like this disrespect to a woman's emotions, disrespect to a woman's desires, disrespect to a woman's vulnerability. And she's always seen as like weak or needy or all of that. So in my journey, I had to really fight misogyny, whether it's with the collective, with the community, with my family, with my ex-partners, so I could have a voice and I could be seen for who I was and not suppress myself to fit the norm. Now, the reason why I'm sharing that is because today, so 16 years later, the path of the feminine is probably the most famous path of women that are on their empowerment journey. So my point here is whoever is watching, if you have an idea or if you have an inspiration or if your journey has led you to create a path that is yet unspoken of, don't doubt yourself because the world isn't there yet. Just know that you're kind of like ahead of the game and become unstoppable because people will reject new ideas. People are scared of change. People, they don't like to come out of their comfort zones, but know that these are not your people. If you have a vision, like trust it and go full force, like as if it's the only option available to you, because that's when you can overcome all these hurdles. Like the misogyny that I went through was very extreme, like different spiritual way showers, you're talking about the feminine, my ex-partners, it's like, suppress yourself, don't be too much for the world. It's like, no, claim your space in
Claim your space out loud.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much because when you're speaking, Nada, I'm thinking of this movement that I'm creating now, and I'm thinking the amount of people that told me it was crazy and that no one would want to, come and show their vulnerability and share that with people. And like you say, when it's something new, when you're a trailblazer, when you're a pioneer, you guys watching this, if you're sat there listening to Nada and thinking, yes, I have a calling in my heart that everyone is telling me is just crazy and unheard of and totally doesn't make any sense, that's because you're a pioneer. That's because you're the one to bring it into the world. Nada, I would love to ask you quickly, do you have one moment or one maybe piece of advice that was pivotal to you through that journey of going from, okay, everyone around me thinks this is crazy, but I'm going to do it anyway, to obviously where you are now? Was there like a turn of the tide at one point or something that really solidified, okay, I've got this, and the world is now finally catching up?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I share that, I want to share something with you based on what you said. I've been watching you on Instagram since you started the challenge, and even the one before it, you started the movement. And I want you to know, since you mentioned a lot of people were like, oh my God, she's crazy. I was in the background watching you getting excited. I was like, look at her. Look at what she's doing. Look at what she's bringing forward. Look at her fierceness. Look at her ferociousness. And she's unstoppable. So I want you to know that I see you and I fucking celebrate you. So keep going.
Okay, I just have to quickly say that you did not ever communicate that to me. So you guys watching, if you're thinking no one is even noticing me, I didn't know that Nada was watching me in the background and having those thoughts. So you never know what impact you're actually creating.
Never know. And I'll tell you something, the people that are watching you are probably the ones that are not gonna they're not gonna communicate with you until the right time. So never stop your message. So with me, like the pivotal point is, us women, it's ingrained in our system, like so deep, to be the good person, to do the right thing. But in the right thing isn't about having integrity. It's more about suppressing yourself to cater to a man or to cater to a boss or to cater to even our children, right? We're supposed to sacrifice ourselves. And I lived through that until I decided, what, I'm going to heal all of this. But, this is very ingrained and it's very deep in our system. And it wasn't until one of my previous partners, most women that are in the good girl syndrome, they date narcissists because they're projects and they're going to fix them. And I was one of them. And it wasn't until my partner really broke my heart. I decided to go to Peru, take 3 months off life and just meditate and just try to figure out who I was. And I realized in that moment, like most women, like all women, we really disrespect ourselves. We disrespect our bodies. We disrespect our voices. We disrespect our ambitions. We disrespect our desires, all in the name of misogyny. So in that moment, I was having a nervous breakdown. I was crying. I was like, why am I here? In that moment, I had this revelation that I will never, I don't care who's in front of me. I don't care what is going on. I don't care what it's going to cost me. I will never, ever disrespect my voice ever again. And with my voice comes my expression, my needs, my desires, my emotional safety, my ambition, my excitements. Like disrespecting our voice is disrespecting who we are. And it was that decision that I will never disrespect myself ever again that actually was the catalyst for me to have the most balanced life possible. Like, I'm talking about my relationship with myself. I'm talking
Yeah.
about my beloved, my husband. I'm talking about my child and my clients and my business. The moment I chose to prioritize that virtue, that standard of I will respect me and I will respect the journey I've been on, so it will not be undermined by me or anyone else. That's when I started having my wings. That's when I had the ability, it was like a catalyst in my life to become unstoppable. So for people watching, like, really, this is such a small word, but carries so much weight. If your partner says something to you that's disrespectful, if your client says something to you that's disrespectful, if you're disrespecting yourself by whatever it is that you're doing, like, respect yourself, because the way you treat yourself is the foundation of your entire life.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I'm sure you guys can resonate so much with all of this. And I just want to bring it a kind of full circle to where you talked about taking that time off to go to Peru. And again, just the synchronicity in your journey and mine is so beautiful and paramount, because it just takes me back to the month that I took away and kind of went into the void and the darkness to find myself. And it was through that I was able to become the version of me that I don't even say find my purpose. It was like unveil it. I was able to finally see it because I had lived the experience that I needed to have in order to know that it was there all along. So I love this so much.
And once you see it, like, once you see how deserving a person is of respect, like, once you truly recognize your divinity and you truly recognize, wait a minute, I am so worthy of all types of respect, you can't ever unsee it. And it becomes very clear about where you're going, how you're going, and who's going with you.
Absolutely. This is amazing. Nada, please do tell everyone where they can find you. It's all going to be in the show notes below, guys, so don't panic. But just to double whammy it, Nada, where can everyone get in your world?
Absolutely. It's really simple, really. Like, my Instagram, my YouTube, my podcast, my offerings, everything is under divinegreatspirit.com.
I love that. Simple. Simple scales. We love it. Nada, this has been so amazing. Thank you so much for taking to the stage, for being brave, for being courageous, and for daring to share your own vulnerability with us all today.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. And you guys, I will see you tomorrow.